All righty. Paws podcast episode 58. We have another one back at it. Last week with Bailey Grossenbacher, FIU softball. I'm here with Jake Gibson, Jonathan Mayer. Jake, how we doing? Another fun episode here of the Paws podcast. I'm excited. We have a very special guest.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's always fun to bring, as I like to say, all aspects of FIU athletics. Obviously, because it's not just the players and coaches that put in the work on game. They do, but there's a whole other side of your game day atmosphere that most people don't really get to see or hear about that often. So that's what we want to do tonight with none other than Twan of the FIU social media team. How are you doing, Twan?
I'm good, man. First of all, what an intro. All that. I need to learn how to do some of that for my own self. But I'm good, man. I'm excited to be on the podcast. Love what you guys do for the university. And it's cool. It's cool just to, spend time talking about whatever y'all got to get into today.
Yeah, we certainly got a lot. And we're going to start it off, with football. That's what you did first. You played a lot of football. We'll talk about photography, videography soon, but just talk to us about when you really got into football and when you thought you wanted to play it more or less professionally. I mean, you got up to playing at college, so.
Yeah, as a little kid, I've always played football, like from Pop Warner all the way to college. So, I guess that's where the journey started. I played little leagues and, really, I'm going to be honest, your boy got cut from basketball like freshman year. And I was like, never playing this again. I'm going to straight football and we just going to keep going with that. And I had a good high school career. And at that point, come graduation time, I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And got a visit from a Division III football coach. And I was like, bro, I'm trying to go D1. Like, that's the dream. Everyone's trying to go D1. But I'm a realist at the end of the day. And I was like, yo, I'm getting a good academic package here. Let's just hop on this flight and go to Ithaca, New York. And I never looked back. And from there, I got injured my freshman year. Didn't get to play, and then sophomore year, I ended up getting the start and just never looked back from there. And had a pretty good career. But yeah, that's kind of my journey in a nutshell. Obviously, we could dive deeper. I know you guys have a few questions you wanted to touch on about that, but that sums up Little League to D3.
So to clarify, Twan, you played defensive back?
I did. I played cornerback.
Okay. Did you have an inspiration in either the collegiate or professional level on how you wanted to play?
So I've always been like a big college football fan, and I don't know if you guys know the name, but I grew up watching a lot of Florida Gators. Vernon Hargraves, and he was a beast in college, and that's something like I always wanted to idol my game as. I was never the biggest. He wasn't the biggest. He was just very technical, and he just had that dog mentality of like, yo, I don't care how big you are, whatever it is that you bring to the table, like my heart, I got more heart than you. That's all it came down to. So definitely him. But I like Deion Sanders. I like Jalen Ramsey a few years ago. He's kind of washed now. But some of those guys, I'm more of a mentality guy. Just how people carry themselves, I really like.
So you were born in Naples, which obviously is not too far away from where you reside now in Miami. But looking back, how much of it was a shell shock to you that the fact that you might be heading to Ithaca all the way up in New York, where obviously the weather's different, the culture's different, the food, everything, but you'd have to start building a career there in New York compared to what you're familiar with down here?
I mean, straight out the gate, I'll tell you, my recruiting trip, like I got there and the next day it was a blizzard. Like we couldn't really go out and get that whole recruiting feel. But just the family environment, it just felt at home like already. But there's definitely a culture shock, and Golden Gate it's in Naples. It's like a little city I was raised in, and it's like a big melting pot of culture. You have a lot of Haitians, a lot of Spanish culture, Black, and up in New York, it was like predominantly white culture, so I had to get used to that factor of it. Being away from home was tough for me in my early years of school, but I felt I was there. I had a purpose to be there, and, football is what kept me in that, so.
Was Ithaca your only offer coming out of high school, or you had more?
I definitely had at the Division III level, I wanted, of course you could call them offers, but I like to, use the term interest just because, it's not the same as like a Division I, like here, come to the school, here's your package. But I definitely had a few different avenues I could have went. And then I also had a few track and field options, but it was Ithaca. I tell you, I just didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was like, let's go. I took one visit, and that was it.
So you spent 3 years there playing football, and that's kind of where we started seeing you kind of start taking out the camera, vlogging a little bit. You have those game day vlogs on your YouTube channel, which we'll get into a little bit later. Just talk to us about that experience. I know you guys played at Yankee Stadium. I believe it's for one game a year. That's your home stadium. So just talk to us about that experience at Ithaca and just playing football.
Yeah, I could definitely dive in. It's kind of like a two-part answer, so bear with me. So yeah, I'll answer that second question first, if that makes sense. So Cortica, it's like they call it the biggest little league game of the year. You know, you sometimes game day, and they usually pick right. They usually pick Ithaca, so that's always a good thing. But it's definitely an experience. Like I said, Division III. I feel like as a Division III athlete, it gets looked down on. Like, yo, no one wants to go the D3 route, but like, yo, I've experienced games that people at the Division I level may never get. Like my sophomore year, we played at MetLife Stadium and broke the Division III college record for 45,000 fans, and then in that same game, your boy got an interception to win the game. So that was a sophomore year. And then, unfortunately, I got injured my senior year, which we could touch base on down or whatever. But then we broke that record that we just had, and we had like another 46,000 attendance game. So like I know that pressure of playing in front of people. I know like what it feels like to be in that environment. And you know, the hope, hey, one day FIU gets to play in front of fans that big. You know what I mean? I know it's a one time a year thing for us, but I just really am so blessed with my journey at the Division III level because I really got to experience a lot of things some people may never do. So for that, I'm grateful. And now back to your first thing that you asked, where that camera comes into play is my senior year. I was just like, yo, this is a very special time. Like I know everything I poured my life into is coming to an end. So I just wanted to vlog that. I wanted to just pick up the camera and document that journey. And looking back on it, it's definitely a beautiful thing. And I'm so glad I did it because I don't have to tell the story. You know, the video is there. The proof is in the pudding. And yeah, it's just been a journey, and it's kind of led me to where I am now. You know, just picking up that camera back then is crazy to say that like I'm now at FIU. But yeah.
And now you hit on a little about the injury, but really you were a really solid defensive back, cornerback at Ithaca College. First team All Liberty League. Really was the captain, which obviously noted in your biography, and giving that captain mantra. But obviously, you talk a little about your fifth year, final year, season-ending injury, and obviously sucks. It's brutal. But what was that mindset for you to be able to reflect and learn? Okay, I'm done playing the sport that I love, but also learning how to move on, and that led it to your passion now with creativity and videography and content side of things.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's one of those things like, so I'm going to do not disturb here. It's one of those things where it's like, I feel like I'm healed from it. And then there's some days I'm out there, watching FIU football. I'm just like, dog, just give me one more chance. I have one more chance. But it was definitely like one of the lowest points in my life, like without a doubt. Like I said, you go your whole life doing something and it's taken away from you like at the blink of an eye. And you can just imagine what all those emotions do, and being away from home, and just I didn't have anywhere to put all that passion. Like you literally just watching from the sidelines, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's not a single day you can get back. There's not a single practice, anything that you can do. So I think what really gave me clarity in the situation, after of course time comes, reflection and all that, was one, my belief in God, but just knowing that I really gave that everything I had. Like whether it was 6 a.m., I was there at 5:30. Like, I was just one of those people, like, let's show up, let's work, and let's do it, because I really enjoyed it. And I let my heart out on the field. And I guess to answer that second part of your question, like transitioning after that injury was, hey, I knew, God let me do everything I had to do with this football thing. But now that it's over, what else can I pour that passion to? So I'm still trying to get that same correlation, that same drive, that same intensity with what I'm doing with my camera. But like I said, I've been doing I've been playing football since I was a high. You know what I mean? So, and this is only my second year with the camera. So like, I don't expect to have that same passion right out the gate. But there's definitely correlations, and there's definitely, the passion I have for football is definitely be important to sharing other people's stories, documenting life and everything that comes with the camera.
By the way, at your time in Ithaca,
Kind of long winded, but
no, it's a
you're
great
good.
answer, and we appreciate it. But at your time in Ithaca, I feel like it opened the door to another opportunity you had, which was to become a creative media assistant at the University of Cornell, which is obviously a very prestigious school in New York. So,
yeah.
how did that come to be, and what did you ultimately do that got you that Best Sports Film Award back in May of 2023?
Yeah, man, you guys really did your research, man. Hey, that's why I like y'all. But yeah, so the opportunity at Cornell, I had came home, and at this point, I came home. I think I had one last, like, I didn't graduate on time. I'm gonna be straight up honest. Like, when I tell you, I was like, that injury messed me up mentally. Like, I was like, yo, I'm done with school. I don't care about the degree. Um, but I remember sitting at home one day, and I got a call from Jeremy Hardigan, who's, I think I can't remember his title, but he's like the AD of communications or something of that nature at Cornell. And he's like, hey, I know you are looking for something with your camera. I was kind of mentioning like, yo, I mean, I have a little bit of skill set here. And we hopped on the phone, and, he understood my situation, and he really wanted me to finish school. That was his big thing. Like, yo, don't give up, just come back, take this opportunity. And I know you don't know what you're doing yet, but like, we'll figure it out. And I think that was the blessing in disguise for me. And it's funny looking back now, just kind of how it all works, because my head coach, my freshman and sophomore year of Ithaca, is now the head coach at Cornell football. So it's funny how it all works. But that to answer your second question, Jake, about the film award. Like I said, this is another long-winded question. You guys kind of hit me with the back-to-backs, but I got a little film award. IMDb rating, whatever credit that I got, but I documented Cornell's wrestling team's national run. They're a very prestigious college. They just finished runner-up nationally in their wrestling this year. But I got to film some of those guys like Yanni, Vito. Of course, everyone's not going to be familiar with the wrestling world, but those guys are high-level athletes, world champs. And I just documented it. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just, hey, point and shoot and tell their story, and it all ended up coming together. So I believe that was definitely a big piece of me getting that opportunity at FIU when it was time to showcase a portfolio, showcase some of the work I've done. So to answer your question, again, long-winded, but yeah.
Is that wrestling video, can it still be seen online? Do you have it posted on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, honestly, I think you got like 70K on YouTube right now.
There you go.
Nice.
It's crazy.
There we go.
It was my first camera. Like, I wasn't shooting in the right sequences. I was just like, got you filming it, thinking I know what I'm doing. Looking back on it like a year later, I could have done so many different things. But yeah, you can find it on Cornell. You can literally type in Cornell wrestling documentary, and it'll be the first thing that popped up. Blood, Sweat, and Glory. That's what it's called. So
Blood, Sweat, and Glory. We'll have to definitely check that out after the show ends. But Twan, let's go back in the past again. Talk a bit about your time even before football. Is that when you first ever picked up a camera and began to know that this is what you loved? Was it when you started playing football at a young level, or was it more towards high school and college where you picked up a camera and be like, hey, I can make work out of this?
I'm gonna be honest, like, I don't give her enough credit. And I mean, I think I'm realizing it, the more I'm like reflecting. Mom, she used to have one of them little VHSs, like always recording stuff. And I mean, I'm gonna find them, all the files I have, but like, she got my first haircut ever on video, like just a whole bunch of stuff. You would be like, dang, like that's you as a kid. And then kind of the middle school, era, like I was one of those like, yeah, I'm gonna be a YouTuber. So, I was doing those little dumb pranks and stuff with a little GoPro. I used to go fishing a lot, and I would always record. There's so many videos I could pull up.
Uh-oh.
But I just always creating stuff, like always creating stuff as a kid and just posting stuff. So I slowly that kid's coming back out of me where I'm just like feeling free, creating freely, and I really like where it's taking me.
So
Now,
we'll get
Kevin, VHS, and it's what people had to use to record stuff. It was on tape cassettes. In case you didn't know that, he's a youngster. He's a youngster. I don't know. I don't know.
Where is that? Is that who you're trying to point at?
No, I was trying to point at Kevin. He's the youngster in the group.
Kevin.
Yeah, but surprisingly enough, I know what that is. So
really,
yeah.
You
know what a come on, you know what a VHS is for sure.
Yeah. So we'll get an FIU in a bit, but I do want to ask you because you've had this channel for a minute, Twan TV. You have all your football videos on there. You still post to it, till this day. Talk to us about why you made it and just, what type of content you post on there for, the viewers that maybe aren't too familiar with it. And just what's the plan with the channel? I mean, you still post on it sporadically here and there, but it's still really good content.
Yeah. So Twan TV, like I said, I always did like YouTube back in like middle school, high school. And I remember the first time I started it, like I wanted to start it as a fishing channel. Like I bought like this GoPro with like this chest strap, all this head strap. It started as a fishing channel. I wish I would have never deleted some of those videos. But as you can see, if you go back, it's like freshman year, I had all this crazy hair. And once again, I was still kind of doing those little stupid in public interview type content. And that slowly, like we talked about earlier, started to get into vlogs, game day. And now to answer that last part of your question is like Twan TV is just like me documenting life. Like whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm, going through the season I'm going through, whether I'm like traveling with the team or just going fishing. Like I just like to make content that people may be able to connect with. Like it's just authentic. It's just me living life, it's no facade with it. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, the plan, I know you asked what's the plan with that. And I don't know, maybe that's something I'm able to do full time down the road. I don't know. All I know is just, keep posting consistently as you guys do, keep going with the episodes. And I think another thing I know you guys didn't ask this, but for anybody that may watch is like, just keep going with what you're doing. And I think that's like what Twan TV is for me. And you guys may relate, like, you put all this work into your podcast, and you can only hope that people are tuning in and appreciating the time that goes into it. So if you haven't, checked out my channel, go ahead at Twan TV. And if not, hey, you might be missing out on some gems. You know what I mean? And I bet you guys can say the same thing about the podcast. So yeah, just keep going with it. Documenting life. That's my motto.
There a specific video you enjoyed the most filming? And I do those faith and fishing. That's a nice little series you've got going on there. But what's maybe your favorite videos that you film on there?
Honestly, my favorite one's coming up this summer, and nobody's seen it. But it's basically everything I've recorded in the last 2 years coming together as one. So
oh shit!
While I could sit here and tell you about my life, I think people who are viewing, you should tune in this summer because I'm dropping like my first documentary. I know we talked about me doing one before, but this is like my own story. So, but yeah, I think the last video I post every time I think is the one I want people to watch because it's reflecting me the most. Yeah.
Sure.
When you first started making YouTube videos, did you have like a sort of benchmark you wanted to make as far as subscribers and views that you would gain? Because right now you're sitting at over 500, which is very, very respectable. So, I mean, did you ever think you'd make it this far as terms of growing a fan base?
I mean, I don't even like to think of it as a fan base, man. I think of it like supporters for real because, even if people hit the subscribe button and never watch again, like someone took their time out today to, come to my channel. And I'm always thankful for that. That's I'll get that off my chest first. But I remember I had this like video, like the first day I made Twan TV and tried to take it serious. I was like, I want to have 300 Instagram followers by the end of the year. Mind you, this is like January. So it's like, you got a whole year to get 300 followers, bro. Nah, but to see like, that number 2 years later be at 500, I like to say I'm not a numbers guy, but of course everybody's looking to see how you're growing. Um, I'm honestly like, I'm just thankful. You know what I mean? Whether I got one or a million, like, yo, there's somebody tuning in and I'm thankful for that person. And I think that's kind of what motivates me too. Is like, yo, there's somebody out there that's watching, so why not give them what they're here for?
And now I want to get into the nuts and bolts. That's FIU. Obviously, you're one of the newer hires at FIU, and talk a little about that for opportunity for you coming down to Miami, South Florida, right in the midst of football season. I think it was like the second game you came for your first football game. But talk about the process of coming here and wanting to join this creative staff and help build the content for the athletic department.
Yeah, bro. Honestly, this was like the last straw. Not in terms of like, this is where I want to be, but this is like that last application I submitted. And he's gone now, but Dan Forcella, shout out him. He gave me a opportunity when I was like, yo, I'm praying. I know I don't got everything I need on this portfolio. I may be missing things, but like, dog, I done been rejected so much. Just give me a chance. So that's kind of what this opportunity was for me. But yeah, I hopped on that call. I met Dan. I made it through round one. I'm like, yo, let's go. Now I just got to talk to this creative staff. So here I go. I'm going to sleep that night just praying. I'm like, yo, grandma, they, because I lived with my grandma at the time, and I was like, yo, they pushed me to the second round. Let's just pray on it, and hope this creative staff can see something in me. So I get on this call. Hunter Dubois. You guys had him as a guest. And Christian Almanza, I got these two guys right here, just basically giving me the interview. And I just remember like, we got this. Because just in that moment, I connected with them so much. They understood my drive and the hunger I kind of had. It's still not about me. It was just more about like, yo, I'm raw with the talent. I'm like new with this, but yo, you guys give me an opportunity. Like, I'm going to help you guys. So I think just having the opportunity and knowing that, yo, this is where FIU stands, and this is the ceiling. Like, yo, we can take it there. So, just getting that opportunity, man. That's all I needed was that Zoom call, and I think God was going to take care of the rest. So, that's how that came about.
And talk to us a little bit about got the relationship you built with them. You've been for them now almost a full year. Just how's that gone? You guys have the interns and. The staff is, some new faces in there. So it's definitely ever growing over there at FIU.
I think, to say the least, like we cooked, like we cooked this year.
Hell yeah.
And it's kind of crazy. Like, Astro and Jaden, like those were kind of the only two interns when I got there. And to see it's like a whole family in that office, Mayor and Kevin, you guys come in that office and you see everybody working. It's like what started off as kind of, them four turn into like a whole family. So it's just like I can't even imagine what next year's contest is going to look like, because that relationship we all have, we all hold each other accountable, and it's just like any of these sports on campus. Is like we all got to be pulling our weight in order to take FIU to where it wants to be. So it's definitely a great relationship. I'm blessed to have those guys in my corner, and get to go to work with those guys every day for sure.
So let's pretend it's an average FIU athletics event going on right now, because it's Vice themed. Let's say it's that Vice game against UTEP back in the day. What does your average? Okay, well, it's an example. I mean, look, let's not think about the bad about that game either. But what I want to get to is, what does your average equipment setup look like for an FIU athletics man? What devices are you rocking? How much stuff do you have to burn through? In a game.
Hey, I got it right here. I keep this thing next to me, so I'm gonna give you a real quick breakdown. I ain't gonna waste too much of y'all time. So real quick, like this is a personal setup. Hunter, you see Hunter nerded out with his big rigs and all that. How I got it. Hey, but it works for him, right? So real quick, we got the camera. Then you want your longer lenses so you can shoot down the field, down the court, whatever it is.
What kind of camera is it?
Say that again.
What kind of camera is it?
This is Sony A7 IV.
Okay.
So yeah, for those of you that may want to buy some, yeah, you need a microphone, a camera, a lens, right? We covered that. Okay. Got to have some batteries; those are essentials. Mm-hmm. And and a great attitude for real, because the game doesn't always go our way, and you still got to get creative. And even when the game does go our way, that attitude factor comes in, because there's things that are happening a million miles an hour, and it's up to our team to deliver that. People in the stadium, people in those arenas know what's going on. People that tune in broadcast, but there's a whole nother fan base that's relying on us. Like, if you really want to take it deeper, like, there's a whole fan base out there that's like, okay, I don't see anything on social media, so maybe nothing's happening. So it's up to us to deliver that story in the most creative way we can, and sometimes in the most simple way we can. Even iPhone, the iPhone's essential. Getting some of those touchdown celebrations, getting some of those crowd moments, and all that. So obviously, there's a lot more that we use as a team, but like, for my essentials, that's all it comes down to.
I would say I got this thing.
The heck is that?
Yeah. Mayor knows.
It's a
honestly,
20,
shout out Mayor, bro, because when I got here, this kid couldn't tell me like a camera from a photo from a video. I'm gonna be honest. And now my boy's out there doing what he does, cooking up content. And he's gonna get in the lab this summer, so he's really gonna be rocking out.
I've learned a lot from you guys, and it's long as being comfortable with the camera and learning how to just do whatever you can with it. So it's reps, yeah, just reps. Like anything, like practicing reps.
Now you tell me to go write some articles. I don't know if I'm putting in them reps. I don't know.
By the way, how visually nice has it been to see the sunset behind Twan with that window behind him? We've seen the sunset, and now
let me slide off. Maybe I can see it.
Ooh, look!
There you go.
That is so beautiful.
That's that 305 sunset for you. You know what I I mean?
Yeah, you can't.
Honestly, is it cool if I keep this light off? Or
you're good.
Yeah, go for it. We've reached the lighting. We've reached that point in the day where the lighting looks really good like that.
That's the 305 sunset for sure.
So you've gone through almost a full season for athletics, multiple sports in your bag. Just got to know, what sport have you enjoyed shooting the most during your time here? Obviously, every sport has different areas where you can shoot. Obviously, different places where you can drop your equipment and talk to players and coaches. What sport would you say is the best for that?
This is it's not a tough answer, but I think, because I was so new to football, I was just kind of getting thrown in the fire, getting used to everything. I didn't have that same level of comfort that I would if I were to go back and shoot it now. So to answer that question, I think track and field, I know doesn't get as much attention, or, it's not as popular. But in terms of shooting, because of that factor where it's I have this sport, I'm able to kind of create stuff freely, create stuff at will. And, I think just because my skill set through football season, through basketball season, a few baseball and softball before I got to shoot track, it really sharpened up all my skills. So I've just been able to really implement everything I learned throughout the year, and I'm throwing it all into track right now. So if you probably ask me this question next year, I think football is going to be that one, because like we mentioned in the beginning, football, it really has my heart. So hoping we're able to document that season and definitely win some games for sure, because it's going to be fun.
Well, going back to football for a second, obviously you have experience recording videos of football with your time in Ithaca. So how much of that time in Ithaca, any advice you learned from others, or you taught yourself about, did you bring into your first time covering football for FIU? How much of that carried over?
Not so much on the technical end, if I'm being honest with you. Like I said, I really didn't know what I was doing with the camera, but if anything I brought in, it was the belief system. It's I can do this. You know what I mean? I can, although I may be uncomfortable at the moment, I can do it. And that belief and knowing I can learn something is definitely what carried over now, because looking back on it, I built a lot of confidence being uncomfortable. Getting to Cornell and being an Ivy League, bro, I'm not supposed to be at no Ivy League, dog. I ain't barely graduated college. You think I'm supposed to be here with Ivy Leaguers, doing what I'm doing. So there's a lot of times I was uncomfortable in that situation, but it's that belief system that kept me going. And now I got to FIU. Like I said, you see Hunter whipping out this, and you see all these other people with these crazy cameras. I'm like, dog, am I supposed to be here? But then once again, when you have those moments, it's go back to your belief system. So I know you were probably looking for like that technical skill set, but it's definitely the belief system that carried me over the most.
All right. Well, we got to know, Twan, do you have a story from your time covering football specifically, whether at home or on the road, that you just love talking to everyone about? It can be from an interaction with a player or a coach, just something you saw, something you wish you didn't see. What would that be?
Dog, I don't know. Like, it's so hard to like. That's one of them things I like. Wish you was like, hey, yo, Twan, we gonna have you on. Like, find an answer to this question. I don't know. Like, I've had a lot of great moments. Some of those trips are really fun. Like, really fun. Just hanging out with the team, and but I can give you like a moment where like, I was like, dog, I'm screwed. I'm like, I'm screwed.
Go for it.
So it's fitting for the scenery we got. So Miami Vice game.
Okay.
We got the Lambos, we got the Rolls Royce.
Oh no.
Next year we're gonna have Mayor come in on the helicopter and get dropped down out the vice helicopter. But no, I'm sitting here at the same desk and my charger is hooked up to my camera. I get up and my foot was on the charger and it pulled my camera, and I just remember my lens breaking, and I was like, dog, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have nothing else to shoot with at the game. And mind you, like my mind at that time was like, I don't even want to call nobody. I don't want to call Dan. I don't want to call Hunter because like, yo, I'm in a sticky situation. But that was one of those moments where I was like, oh, I ended up going to Best Buy, got it all figured out. But you could imagine, this big game that, all this attention's on and you just lost your biggest piece of equipment, how that made me feel. So maybe I'll come back to you with like a more specific to like football. But as of now, that's what I got for y'all.
I will say, obviously, that game did not go in FIU's way, but the way the social media team handled the buzz before and during that game, my God, man, that was lights out. That was lights
out! Lights out!
Like, yeah.
There we go.
Wow. Nah, I give all that credit to, the ones. I mean, obviously the week leading up to it, that week I definitely had some part in that, but like, hey, shout out Hunter, shout out Christian, and everybody else who had, input on those promo videos, the things that, reach ESPN, because at the end of the day, we didn't win the game. At the end of the day, the other team danced with the cards we were supposed to.
Don't want to think about that.
We got the publicity. Hey, it's part of the game. You gotta call a spade a spade. You got to be honest.
Okay, all right.
But hey, any publicity is good publicity. So we gonna get it right this time around, and I think that at least I feel like I speak for me and Hunter. Like, yo, the standard is, if that's what that video did, like let's one up it. So I'm excited to see that time around next year what it's gonna look like.
What was the first game you shot when you got here to FIU, and just kind of what do you remember from it? It doesn't have to be football, just whatever sport came first for you.
Nah. North Texas. So I had a good one. I got a good one.
That was a good one. That was a
banger. We got that game. We won. First game of the year. I thought I was bringing in some like beginner's luck, like my boy Twan just got here, we got this crazy game. But I guess that's a moment, Jake, that locker room after that game was just to be in there with all those guys, everyone dancing, Coach Mack dancing. That was a really great moment, one of the highs of the year. So that was the one that I remember most.
So I guess it goes I guess hand in hand with the question. But is there a specific game that you've enjoyed shooting? Any sport, football? I think you did a little bit of soccer. Obviously, basketball was in there. Women's basketball had a good run this year, so you had a lot of moments or in games to shoot. Was there a specific game you enjoyed the most?
Forgive me for not knowing the team, but when Javante Hawkins made that buzzer beater.
Oh, Western Kentucky.
What team was that?
Western Kentucky.
Yeah, that was a really
senior
good
day, right?
game.
That was
Like,
on senior day.
It was, bro. Like Ocean Bank was like loud. Like, just I remember like, yo, there was points in the game. Like, why are you guys even right now? Like, why are you guys even being this loud? But yeah, you had the fans mixed with like the way that the game ended, and I think I just captured it so perfectly. Like that was definitely a game I remember.
Oh, am I up?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, we have a planner, Johnny.
I gotta stick by it. So I think it's a cool question. Is a lot of people, if you're an average Joe or somebody that just looks at social media, obviously you're behind the camera, you're doing all this stuff. What are some things that maybe an average person might not know that you do to take the time, when you're filming something, and things that maybe are some kind of behind the scenes that goes a long way to seeing, the cool, awesome content that that you guys post?
Yeah, just about everything. Like unless it's like a phone video, I think there's a lot of things that, like you said, quote unquote, the average Joe will miss. Some of the way we color things around FIU, we try to have a consistent color that may go over people's head. The time spent is one of the biggest things. Like, you guys watch a 15-second reel, a 15 to 30-second reel, and dog, I just took 4 hours on that one thing. Obviously it comes with whatever project we're doing, but time people don't realize, and just what goes into some of the production. Like you might see a simple video and think, wow, that video looks good, but we had to light that thing a certain way. There's just so many different things that kind of get overlooked throughout the process for sure.
Real quick, before you go to news break, you've kind of gone through it a couple times now through the podcast. It's about your faith. You're very, you don't shy away from, saying you believe in God. You put it on your YouTube channel everywhere. Just talk about how much, that's helped you throughout, the injury, then, your time at Cornell and coming over now to FIU.
Yeah, man. That's definitely not something I shy away from. You know what I mean? Especially like when you really understand it. And I'm not one to, criticize another religion or criticize anybody who doesn't believe. Like everyone has their own beliefs. And I think that's what, I also get that same feeling for God. Like, yo, I believe because I know where I was and who took me out of that situation. So you'll never hear me shy away from that. You'll never hear me like not open up about that if that time comes. But just believing in something that's greater than me, I think is the other thing, where believing in a God or believing in something just bigger than me is like, yo, it's not about me. This is greater than me. It's not my story. This is given to me. And I think when you realize that, like, yo, at any given moment, what you have can be taken away. You start to appreciate things in a different light. And I definitely believe, that injury was like one of those like come to God moments that just stuck with me. And it's crazy. Like as bad as I felt in that moment, as I wish I can go back and take it away. Like I don't wish that at all, because it gave me like a new perspective on life. And it's not like, yo, I got shot and, I barely stayed alive, but just being humbled in that way, knowing that, yo, I can give everything and it can be taken away that quick. It's definitely one of those things that brings you to God. And, yeah, like I said, this could be a topic for another time, but, whether you're a non-believer or a believer, you believe in something. So just move the right way, love others as you would want to be loved, and, just try to do right by others. I mean, whether you're a believer or non-believer, it is bigger than you for sure. And I think if everybody moves in that way, the world will be a better place for sure.
Who made this?
Antwan TV, man.
Who said that in the intro, by the way?
Those are my little brothers.
Oh,
Little
okay.
brothers.
Cool. Kevin, is it time? By the way, there was no question. I just really felt like saying that because I don't know.
I appreciate that, man. I'm trying to get that thing worldwide. Trying to get it worldwide. We gonna get there though. We gonna get there, and when we do, we gonna pull up this clip of Jake saying it. You know what I mean?
Kevin, is it time for a news break?
Let's do it.
All righty then. I think it's time for my news break, where we go over all things FIU athletics and just FIU in general. So let's start off with football. FIU football has had a busy last week. Following the NFL draft, one former Panther is now in the NFL, and a couple of more are looking to join him. Donovan Manuel, FIU's dominant linebacker who set the single-season forced fumbles record back in 2023, has signed with the Minnesota Vikings as an undrafted free agent. That might not be all, as defensive lineman Jack Daly will be attending rookie minicaps for both the Green Bay Packers and Buffalo Bills while linebacker Alex Nobles will do the same, but for the hometown, the greatest football team ever, the Miami Dolphins. We wish all of them the best of luck, and hopefully joining Donovan Manuel in the NFL. And just always nice to see more Panthers in the National Football League. Let's delve into some scheduling news for FIU baseball. Following their canceled game last night against FGCU. Sorry, Johnny, you had to make the trip over there. But some changes have been made to their upcoming weekend series against Liberty Flames in Lynchburg, Virginia. Friday's contest is now a doubleheader, with the first game starting at 4:30 p.m. and game 2 following will take place right after, 45 minutes after the first game ends. Saturday's game is still scheduled to start at 4 p.m. However, there will be no game played on Sunday. So just a quick scheduling note for all of you who are wanting to watch FIU baseball this weekend. Let's talk some tennis, as the Panthers cleaned house when it came to the Conference USA end of the regular season awards and conference tournament season as well. The headliners include, of course, Katarina Petrovic being the Conference USA Coach of the Year, Ekaterina Kairodinova earning Player of the Year honors, and Valerie Gainina being tabbed as the Rookie of the Year. And that is only 3 of 15 other total all-conference USA awards that FIU earned that span across both singles and doubles play. So the Panthers are set to take on the Hurricanes of UCG in the NCAA Regionals over in Gainesville this Saturday at noon. And finally, of course, a lot of Panthers across all sports at FIU Athletics have recently graduated or are set to graduate soon, including some Paws podcast legends such as the great Ryan Guida. So we want to congratulate all of them on this achievement, and of course, wish them the best of luck with future endeavors, including, I don't know, maybe being potential guests on this show. So that was your quick look at Newsbreak. So let's talk about what we saw last year, Twan. Again, you weren't around for the full football season, but you still got your fix in with the players and coaches of this team and how they've changed this offseason. So just what are your thoughts on the team that you've seen so far, along with what you've seen through spring practices and, of course, the spring showcase? Just what's your state on this on the Panthers right now?
Yeah, I think, coming from obviously a different football environment, I kind of want to give my background. I know we talked about it a little bit, but I kind of just want to compare like D3 to D1 and kind of so the viewers can understand my perspective on this.
Okay.
At the Division 3 level, there's all that NIL transfer, and that's out the window. Like, we're here because we love football. And when you're at a place because you love football, that is like everything to you. So it's easier to move with your brothers. Like, those aren't teammates; those are brothers at that point. You guys are grinding. You guys are 6 a.m. Them snowstorms, y'all still out there getting work. You know what I mean? And I think that's the biggest thing I've seen in the culture of Division I football. Is like there's no real cultures anymore, and that's anywhere. You can go anywhere, and your head coaches are moving for money, your players are moving for money, everyone's chasing NIL. So before I answer that quick question, I just kind of want to show you guys like what I come from and what I see now. Is like at the D3 level, at the time there was 239 teams, and we were lucky to be one of those last 8 teams in the playoffs, and that's all because like we really were brothers. Like, and there was nothing else but football. There was none of that money distraction. There was none of that who's hitting the portal, who's coming in. You know what I mean? Now to answer your question about the Panthers, I was around during spring. I got to see those guys live, and the energy for sure is different than what I would say this. Oh, excuse me, bit my tongue a little bit there, but
It's all good.
Nah, the energy is definitely different. I think that's what you need to begin. I think if I'm coach of the FIU Panthers, the first thing I'm doing is, really setting that culture. And like, if you're not bought in, if you're on the fence, like, you're out of here. And I'm not saying that Coach Mack hasn't done that. I'm just saying, if I were the Panthers, how, definitely instilling a culture and, having those guys carry that out, which they do, you know what I mean? But there's nothing that the coaches can do. And you guys are probably like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? There's nothing that the coaches can do to make the program better. You know what I mean? Because that's what they're there for. They do that every day. They meet as coaching staff. They meet as a group and collectively like, yo, this is the vision. And who are they giving that vision to? The student athletes. So when I say there's nothing else the coaches can do, it's on the players. It's on the leaders of that team or the people who haven't stepped up yet to be like, yo, this is, I know there's I've heard it. I'm not saying from certain players, but you go around campus, oh, it's just FIU. It's just make FIU something greater. There's got to be someone that wants to do that. And I think when you find that person, it only takes one, because if you can get one, you can get two. You can get two, you can get four. You know what I mean? And they gotta become believers of their work and believers of their craft. And when you find enough people to do that, the rest take care of itself for sure.
And I think with this year, obviously big season ahead coming up in August, but obviously it just starts with a culture and building that
Exactly.
For the program. But I want to ask you a little more about, not just football, is the amount of sports here at FIU. And one big thing that makes really unique for FIU working here is the vast amount of different sports you get to cover. And, there's soccer, volleyball, baseball, which we have now, softball.
We got a swimming team.
Swimming diving.
Of course, the swimming team.
We got track.
We got some champions out here, dog.
We got the track team, track and field. We got cross country. We got tennis, which won a conference championship and is going to regional this weekend. So for you, what is that like to be able to work with so many different sports and really can benefits you in a way because you're able to see what you like, what you don't like, and really just getting better at working at different aspects and in different places as well.
I mean, like you said, it does nothing but benefit me.
Yeah.
I think it's honestly the best part of my job that I even overlook sometimes. It's like, yo, just yesterday I was shooting this. Now I'm going with this group. It definitely, like I said, at first it's that uncomfortability. I don't know these players. I don't even know the rules to some of this stuff, but learning not only to shoot, but just be around different environments. And it almost is like one of those things I could put a mask on and go with this team for the day, take it off and go shoot with the next team. But just seeing, like I said, the cultures of some of those rooms and how they differ around campus. It's honestly like I'm on top of all this and I get to see those behind the scenes things. So I love my job. I love what I do. And having all those sports is definitely a unique thing. And it does nothing but benefit me, like you said.
And just kind of piggybacking off of Johnny's question, is there a team that's impressed you the most out of, the ones you've worked with? Obviously, swim and dive with the championship, tennis with the championship, beach volleyball was ranked. Women's basketball at one point was, one of the better teams in the conference. So
yeah.
You've had your fair share of pretty damn good teams on this campus. And, which one's impressed you the most?
To say the most, I would say, I want to say like, the swim and dive, I didn't spend as much time around them the year, but it doesn't surprise me. You feel me? Like, I just feel like that team just knows how to take care of business. Yeah. I think what's surprised me just because, you can only, I just got here. So you only hear about what happened last year. It's definitely like women's basketball and the way they kind of turned their program around. But all that to say, I think there's a lot of successful programs. And when you look at some of those programs who've had successful years, it all goes back to culture. Yeah. Like that culture radiates out of certain teams. Like women's basketball got this more like family, like, we're lit vibe, you know what I mean? And it's because they all believe in a certain culture and it pours out of all of them. Same with swimming, I know I didn't spend as much time, but, Mayor's the SID there. And, I hear a lot of like good things come from that. And you can tell like those are very hardworking women.
And he tells us all the time.
Consistent. Consistent grind,
They win conference championships year after year.
You don't win it without that culture. But yeah, I could say that for a lot of teams, but I think you really see the wins come into that column when that culture is right.
Yeah.
You kind of mentioned that you didn't have it in D3 with, NIL, the transfer portal. What are your thoughts on that right now when it kind of feels like, the transfer portal is more like free agency, It's not that it's getting out of hand, but it's certainly, especially here at FIU, you see that, it's not really a stepping school, a stepping stool school, but it's definitely one where you've seen, you saw Chris Mitchell just last year, a couple years ago, Tyrese Chambers, Richard Odine, those guys come to this school and probably, not to sound bad, but they get a bag out of this.
Yeah, of course. And I'm gonna answer that in two parts. First of all, hate the NIL, hate it. It ruined college sports. It ruined college football for me, at least. I can only speak about my opinion. And I might give, whatever, flashback for this, whatever. I hate it. It's literally, like you said, has turned this thing into free agency, something that was like, I used to just want to get up on college game days and just sit there at 8 a.m. and watch these shows. And it's like, bro, when did you get to this team? When did you leave? Oh, that's why you made that much. and the other part of it is like, I understand, some of these people want to get to that next level. Some of these people want better opportunities. Some of these people need that money. But I think I don't want to speak on anyone's specific situation, but overall, it's like, what are we really doing here? I come from the background. It's like, yo, I'm blessed. I think of it as this, this could be me because, I had that Division III history, but I feel like even if I was a Division I athlete, it's like, yo, I'm blessed to get my school paid for. That's what I'm here for. You know what I mean? I'm here. I got my scholarship, and sports is a added benefit. Of course, that like some of these Alabamas, that NFL thing is like, I'm really here for football. I'm not here for school, but like at the end of the day, I think it's great that all these people are getting paid the amount that quote unquote deserve for their name, image, likeness. But like, look at what it's really doing in the grand scheme of things. In my opinion, ruins sports. And like I said, just having your tuition paid for, being able to sleep on campus, being able to eat on campus for free, I think that's the biggest blessing. But I don't control that. I'm not the NCAA commissioner, and my opinion really doesn't matter. So that's just my 2 cents on it for sure.
So, there's always, we've seen the change already with a lot of these programs just in a matter of weeks. Just which one excites you the most entering, we're just about to wrap up this athletic year, but for the next athletic year, which program are you most excited maybe to work with or most excited to watch, flourish into what we hope is, a championship winning team?
Yeah, I think soccer is for sure. I know, like, when it comes to sports, I know like some people are like soccer, but men's soccer for sure. I got here, I didn't understand that, that team is consistently good like that year on year. So I just think, seeing them go deeper into the play they did this year would definitely be a dope thing. And, even on the women's side, I think that's one of the first teams I traveled with. And, they might not have done it, on paper, but being around that team and, that energy they have, I know they're headed towards better things. And then just individual players, I see the jersey you got on Jake. I'm excited to see what Kiwan and that offense does. Losing a few games, and then having that off season to get better with what you have returning. I'm excited to see that. I'm just excited. I love to see new things. Even men's basketball didn't have a great year by any means, but how does a team rebuild? How does a team plug in and play? So whether you had a bad season or a good season, like the beauty in it is like now is the time to go back to the drawing board. So I'm just excited to see who does that. And, me and the squad will be there to capture it for sure.
I would say, though, there's nothing better than like August when every team is yet to play and that optimism it's there. Like you all feel it. Like you don't know the season's gonna go, but you feel that you're optimistic. That's I think that's one of the coolest feelings, top feelings that I got to experience last year.
One of the best feelings. It's like right up there with like knowing winter's over and like spring just started. It's like right there. You know what I mean? Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
All righty, we're gonna start wrapping up a little bit here. Go into some rapid fire. Mayor, I'll let you kick it off because I think you're the best suited to ask this one, Johnny.
Yeah, I know. I got to see a lot of these guys. So we got a lot of characters, in the office, creative side, intern side. Who's the funniest coworker at FIU? And that includes interns as well. Who's the funniest?
Christian Almanza.
Yeah.
Shout out my guy, man. That guy me and him can literally go back and forth for I don't know how long until we're just out of breath. That guy he got it.
What's one stadium or venue that you've enjoyed shooting or taking video of a game the most? From FIU. It could be a home or away game.
Home or away game. Ooh, I don't know. Honestly, like just the campus environment. Really like Liberty. I shot volleyball and I shot track and field, but just being on that campus, it was like very beautiful. Yeah, Liberty had a good campus.
Mm-hmm. As someone who's obviously been around campus often, what would you say is your favorite food spot to grab a quick bite?
On campus is definitely tropical smoothie for sure. Tropical smoothie.
Man, even the content side goes with tropical smoothie too.
Every athlete says tropical smoothie.
It's just I don't know. It's just healthy, I guess. It's right there.
Yeah. Here we go. Last one for me, and we ask every single guest that we have on, and we'll go in this route. We already got Hunter on, But which is the next creative that we should have on to come on the show?
Get that guy Christian.
Christian?
We need to complete the trio. You know, that trio.
I think you got to complete the three-headed monster, and what better than the guy who's been around longer than all of us?
Yeah.
Like, to really wrap it up, and I think you get some good perspectives on how far FIU's really came. So definitely, we're gonna be rooting for that one. I'm gonna get on him tomorrow in the office. I'm telling him, like, yo, you're up next.
You're up next.
For
if
sure.
you could go one-on-one with any wide receiver on FIU's roster,
I'm strapping him.
who would you do for like?
He's calling out. Now he's calling out people. You
Let's
can't.
say,
I mean, you line him up. You call him out.
all right. Okay, fine. Dean Patterson,
Hey, bring him on.
Eric Rivers.
Bring him on. I don't care. You could bring out whoever you want. I don't care.
Chris Mitchell. I mean, he's gone. But
You
Okay, well then how
you
about
can
this?
bring Tyreek Hill out here. We gonna do what
Tyreek
we can.
Cheetah, you're going down.
Nah, man. That's just like competitive spirit in me. Shout out those guys. Like I'm excited. For
always,
Eric. I'm
yeah.
excited for Dean. Like
Mhm.
All right.
I'm honestly very excited for the two of those guys. But that's just that competitive spirit. Like it's me versus whoever. You think I'm gonna say, yeah, they got me? No, they don't got me.
Okay, well, if you had the opportunity to go one-on-one with any wide receiver in football history, collegiate or pro, who would you want to go one-on-one with?
Oof. That's like basically asking like who would you want to get embarrassed by? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't. Yeah, I don't want you to set yourself up. But
Nah. Who would I
say
get embarrassed by? Like I think if Odell hit me with one of those, you know what I mean, I'd be all right with being on ESPN for like a few years to come for sure.
Who's the athlete that you've enjoyed working with the most here at FIU?
Ooh.
Be from any sport.
I got a lot of people on this campus that I really like. I can point to every team and there's somebody. I think as of now, like just because track and field I'm so invested in it and just so locked in it. Like right now, Chambers is definitely like his story and what I think he's has yet to do coming up is he's definitely like one of those kids I rock with for sure.
Mary, you got anything else?
Anything else? I mean, I feel like we asked a lot of.
I got a question.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna pick 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah.
And Jake, since you're the MC, I got my numbers here. Pick a number 1 through 3.
Like I say it. Do I have to say it out loud?
Number 1 through 3.
2.
So this is you because in my screen it's 1, 2, 3. So I'm asking you the question.
Okay.
Say all of FIU is on campus and there's one megaphone that just connects to your microphone.
Okay.
What would you tell Panther Nation 30 seconds or less? Everybody's listening to you. Like I'm talking from the president down to the normal average student.
First thing I'd do, I'd actually convince the students to go. Oh my God, I get full screen too. I would convince the students, very charmingly, of course, to pack the cage for FIU's home opener this upcoming season. I mean, we need to get y'all here. Go to the Panther Walk. Go support the players, the coaches, and of course the creative and social media team that put their butts into making the experience on game day as great as it can be. Because you guys do amazing work. And aside from that, I don't know. Go make sure you get some of those cookies from Breezeway, and
and then you tell them like, don't forget subscribe to the Paws Up podcast. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that comes first before anything. Subscribe to the Paws Up podcast, and of course, subscribe to Antwan TV
Let's go. Hey man, I know we're coming up to the end of this thing, but I really enjoyed my hour on here. You know what I mean? Whether, like I said, whether we get 1 million viewers or 1, I enjoyed my time, and thank you guys for having me on. It's been a blast.
Well, hang on, Twan. You put me on the spot. Now I got to put you on the spot here real quick. If you have anything you want to say to the fans, to FIU, to anyone, the floor is now yours.
Not even on like some motivational thing, but like I said in the beginning of the pod, just like. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're pursuing, whether it's a podcast, whether you're an athlete, just keep believing in what you got going. You know, it's in your heart for a reason. And I just feel like the more comfortable you become in what you're pursuing, whether you're SID, whether you're, you know, anything, like, yo, like you got a passion for something for a reason. So don't let anybody, you know, knock you off your trail. And just love life, and love your neighbors. That's all I got for y'all, for sure.
All righty. We're going to wrap it up here. Again, Twan, we appreciate you a lot for hopping on. This was a phenomenal time. We'll be back next week. We won't announce the guest, but it's a football player. That's all you guys need to know.
Football player. We're getting ready for football again. It's that time of year. We got to get hyped.
Oh, yo, put it in the chat so I can see. Put it in the chat.
I'll let you know right after. All righty.
But I man, appreciate you guys for sure.
From Johnny, Jake, Twan, myself, we'll see you guys all next week. And as always, Paws up, baby.
Let's go.
Paws up.